Well, if free trade is so good, why is opposition to it so vehement? In the 2016 presidential campaign, both Donald Trump and Bernie Sanders made opposition to free trade a central part of their campaign. Well, let's talk about who benefits and who loses. Who benefits from free trade? Consumers gain, and the producers of the goods in which countries specialize also gain. Consumers gain from free trade through lower prices. Trade reduces the prices in the U.S. of bananas, clothes, shoes, wine, bicycles, furniture, and many other goods. Even a small decrease in price creates a large gain because consumers purchase so many of these goods. A small number multiplied by a very large number is a large number. Producers of the goods in which a country specializes also gain because more consumers are buying their goods and services. The U.S. specializes in planes, entertainment, such as movies and TV, financial services, agricultural products, and many other products. The increase in sales of these products and services to our trading partners increases the profits earned by the companies and the wages and salaries earned by their employees. Now, who loses? Producers of the goods in which the trading partner specializes also lose. The increase in sales of these imports decreases the profits earned by the domestic companies and the wages and salaries earned by their employees. In our own state, we have seen the destruction of furniture and textile companies and their jobs. Well, now let's talk a little bit about who is more likely to express their preferences in the political process. The people who lose from free trade are more likely to spend money, time, to lobby against free trade than the people who benefit from free trade are to spend time and money against trade restrictions. The reason for the imbalance is that the political process often favors a small number of people who gain or lose a large amount per person when government changes a policy over a large number of people who gain or lose a small amount per person. Economists call the small number of people a special interest group, and the political process often favors special interest groups. The reason that the political process often favors special interests is a simple application of the pursuit of self-interest. Let's walk through a simple example. Who would be more inclined to attend a meeting to express their preferences, drivers or landowners? Let's suppose, for example, that a local body is deciding whether or not to widen a road. Let's assume the decision will affect 1,000 drivers, and each driver receives a $1 benefit if the road widens. Further assume that the decision will affect 2 landowners, and each landowner suffers a $300 loss if the road widens. And finally, let's assume the cost of attendance is the same for everybody, and any person who wants to attend the meeting has got to pay $5 in time or inconvenience. Now, since the potential loss to each landowner is greater than $5, the landowners are inclined to attend the meeting and to speak strongly against the proposal to protect their interest. They stand to lose $5 of $30 to $300, but if they pay $5, they can show up and say how bad this thing is. The drivers, on the other hand, are not likely to attend the meeting. Each driver is looking at a $1 benefit. Why pay $5 when the most you're going to get out of the process is a $1 benefit? This analysis implies that the people who lose from free trade are more likely to spend time and money to lobby against free trade than people who benefit from free trade are to spend time and money against the restrictions. The people who lose see a clear connection between free trade and the cost they bear. Ask people who live in Danville if free trade has helped their economy. They will generally say no because of the decrease in jobs in textiles and furniture that occurred because of imports. Moreover, the loss to an individual is often large. Losing a job and going bankrupt impose substantial monetary and psychological cost. Therefore, each individual who loses from free trade is likely to find that the expected benefit of spending time and money to oppose free trade is greater than the cost. The consumers who benefit, on the other hand, are unlikely to appreciate or understand how much they gain. The link between the greater availability of imports and lower prices is not obvious, and the benefit to each individual consumer is difficult to measure and generally much lower than the cost borne by someone who loses their job. Therefore, each consumer is likely to find that the expected benefit of spending time and money to oppose trade restrictions is less than the cost. Trade restrictions are not a good way to save jobs. The cost is high. An example is voluntary import restrictions on autos in the 1980s. These restrictions saved approximately 100,000 jobs in the domestic auto industry. At that time, workers were earning $400,000 per year for what most observers called good jobs. The restrictions did raise the price of cars paid by U.S. consumers, and if they added up all of the higher prices and multiply that by all the cars purchased, it comes to be a total of, can I do that in my head? $14,600 million in higher prices were paid by consumers. That's $146,000 per job saved. In theory, the government could have imposed a small tax on the consumers to collect $4 billion and then use the money to pay the $400,000 each not to work. After the tax, the consumers would still save $10,600,000. Of course, this theory ignores the administrative costs needed to execute the program. The government would have to determine who wins and who loses, hire more IRS employees, and buy more computers to collect taxes and transfer income, and pay people to create the rules and regulation of the program. These administrative costs would reduce the efficiency of the program.